Creatomus Solutions is digitalizing the construction sector through innovative technology. Creatomus is an online application in 3D that allows the end user to customize their future home while keeping them updated about the performance indication and the cost of building. Residential property developers, house manufacturers, and architects use technology to promote their flexible and modular house types online. Their solutions help to rapidly design modular buildings, visualize all design choices, and speed up customer decision-making processes. Their mission is to change how buildings, houses, and apartment buildings are designed and delivered. As a result, they believe that buying and selling houses will radically change in the years ahead.
Did you know that the construction sector is responsible for almost half of the man-made CO2 emissions globally? Construction sector is hugely wasteful of both raw materials and also the energy. Construction sector is one of the main contributors to the climate crisis. But besides climate crisis, we also have housing crisis. So it's largely driven by the climate crisis. We have a migration crisis, and we also have a looming war in Ukraine that actually drives the migration flows. We need to build more, better houses all the time. But construction sector is really not doing very well. If we compare the efficiency of construction to the manufacturing of consumer products, then we see that actually the efficiency of construction sector has stayed flat since 1995, while the manufacturing of consumer products such as shoes, your mobile phones, your laptops is steadily increasing. Well, enough of bad talk. What can we do, really? Some say that houses should be built more like cars. So that means they should be built in factories. You wouldn't imagine of building your car on a driveway, but we still build our houses out there in cold and rain. So besides taking houses and construction into factories, we also need to make those out of components, pretty much like cars. However, houses can be mass customized. So using the same type of basic components, we can assemble them in a very different way and get very different results. We don't have to build houses that look all the same. They can be all personalized to the user needs, but they also can be localized to the surrounding environment. So houses, we can build those houses really like kids build Lego houses. So out of distinct or discrete components, we say, we can assemble very different kind of houses. But we can take them apart as well and reassemble it in new houses, different houses. So the same kind of components can be used for your private homes, but also for a small apartment house, for example. If we make houses in factories and we produce them out of standard components, that will enable circular construction. We don't have to take all of the materials from the raw natural resources. We can use the built environment as a resource. So once again, how can we green turn in construction? In my opinion, there are two things we need to do, really. We need to use more of biogenic materials, means grown materials such as timber, but we also need to take our house production into factories. Making houses in factories is far more efficient. We can get cost efficiencies. We can also get better performing houses. We can build houses faster, but more importantly, we can build greener. Let's take this example of a kindergarten building. On your left, you see a concrete kindergarten currently being built in Tallinn. And on the right-hand side, you see a modular timber building, which is a replica of the concrete building. It has the same size and the same shape. Same energy efficiency means that it uses about the same amount of energy throughout its life cycle. But compared to the carbon footprint of those two, so timber modular buildings have almost 3 times lower carbon footprint. Embodied carbon footprint that's actually emitted throughout the construction phase. Also, modular buildings actually keep a lot of carbon within the structure. So they become kind of a carbon bank. Besides that, modular timber buildings are a lot lighter. They're 5 times lighter than concrete buildings, which again is an enabler of circular construction. Imagine that you have to take buildings from the factory to the construction site, and say 20, 30 years, you have to take those components back to the factory to be amended and taken to a new site. Then having a lightweight components has a huge benefit. But it's not just about the environment, it's also about us, about human beings and our well-being. Numerous studies have shown that using natural materials in construction doesn't only give us a boost to our physical health, but it also improves our mental well-being. It makes us happier, more focused. Okay, enough of theory. Let's have a look at a couple of examples, what we've done with the modular construction technologies here in Estonia. The first one, currently in construction stage, is commissioned by the National Grid of Estonia. It's a small-scale modular classroom building. And it's currently in construction stage, but hopefully will be built already next year. A second example, and City of Tallinn here shows a great example. They have announced an architectural competition to be finished tomorrow. We will see actually new kindergartens, modular kindergartens built out of wood, and lots of architectural offices submitting their ideas how to do it. So Tallinn has about 80 kindergartens. Right? About half of them need to be renovated, rebuilt in the next 5 to 10 years. You would ask, if we built them out of timber, would we actually have to clear cut all our forests? Well, not quite. We do need to think about how do we treat the natural resources, right? How do we harvest our food, timber and wood, but also how do we actually grow it and how to maintain our forest. But let's think about the national statistics of valorizing biomass. So this study shows that only 3% of Estonian timber biomass is used in buildings, while 60% is used for energy production. So I say let's put more timber into our buildings and let them stay there for hundreds of years, rather than feeding them into ovens. Modular construction technology is one side of it. But we also need digital technologies to bundle it all together. So we do want to actually connect the supply chain, means the manufacturers, designers, builders, to the demand side, public or private sector developers, maybe even private home buyers. And we do need digital technologies to make these connections. Imagine if you had a software that allows you to connect directly to manufacturing of houses. So you could actually design those houses out of components. You can swap them in, swap them out. We call them house configurators. while you're designing your building out of modular components, you will see the real-time data analytics telling you about the potential cost, about the use of materials, about the carbon footprint of your design. While we're building those digital technologies already, where are we actually lagging behind? Or what should be done next? And I think that it needs to be the public sector who takes the next step and develops those modular construction technologies. So we had examples of kindergartens and school buildings, but why cannot we develop elderly homes? Why cannot we develop our hospitals, student housing, army barracks? You just name it. We can all use modular technologies for all of them. And the public sector needs to take the first step here to develop those systems. And in my opinion, those systems need to be open source for everyone. If they are open source, the public sector can invest in it. And we all can benefit. Public sector can invest because they open. They for everyone. They for the common good. We need to do it now. The time has come. We have a climate crisis, but we also have a war in Ukraine. We need to be ready with those technologies once Ukraine wins the war. We need to take those technologies there and help Ukraine to help themselves. We don't need to deliver them housing. We can give them technologies and let them to erect their factories, let them to build their cities and countries. But not only. I think those technologies, if they are green technologies, can make Ukraine also economically viable scenario. Ukraine can become a green production hub for entire Europe. Thank you very much. My name is Renee Puusepp. I'm from Creatomus Solutions. Please get in touch with me on LinkedIn. I'm happy to have a discussion about technologies. Thank you.